Everybody so far from back to normal, but we're hearing schools will be back up October 23rd.
I hope that, I mean,
I hope that happens, some normalcy, right?
For the kids. Again, we're talking Puerto Rico's devastated, Virgin Islands devastated as well. It is rough.
A long way to go.
Let's quickly, back here in the lower 48, a lot of Puerto Ricans now are actually living in Orlando. Scattered showers today and for the rest of the week, but also a cold front coming through. Big change in temperatures behind this system, finally, for much of the south.
This is a taste. If you blink, you miss it, right? Because we're back down, still close to average here in New York and Boston, believe it or not. But those are your starting temperatures today, just a signal of how much warmer it is. Yeah. But eventually, yes, that cooler air will take over.
Move on towards Tuesday, and we're looking at temperatures still on the cool side. Boston, 57, 61 in New York, 69 in Atlanta. We're already warming back up to close to 80 in Dallas and Denver. Did we have snow there a couple of days ago?
We
77.
did. We did, and 73 in Billings, still into the 70s to come midweek, but we're starting to get a hint of a little bit of a switch here, a change up in the west, a welcome change in the form of some rainfall.
Yeah, by Thursday, needed rain moving into Northern California. Now, ahead of it, we're still warming back up. Chicago above average at 71. Atlanta right at average. Average is on 73, 72, but still it's closer to average than you have been last week, setting record high temperatures with the temperatures close to 90 last week.
All right, now you've got a lot of rain coming from the Great Basin into the west, and not just Northern California, but trying to get down to Southern California. That's some good news, but very dry eastern half of the country.
Moving on towards next weekend, and we're still dry in the eastern half of the nation. Warm as well, 75 in New York, 76 in Atlanta, but rain showers in the Pacific Northwest continue. By that right now, for today, scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms moving across the Ohio Valley. Not a heavy rain event widespread, not a severe event, but definitely you're pushing the colder temperatures. 58, that's it in Chicago, and 82. Last day in the 80s for a while in the Atlanta area.
This is the push, the little taste of fall that a lot of us have been waiting for. It'll be a little one, that's for sure. But still hanging on to those showers across the southeast, including in Charleston Wednesday.
Cooler weather coming for sure across the East Coast on your Tuesday. Look at this, 57 in Boston, 61 in New York. And what? Are we not even at 70 in Atlanta? But if you want the warmth from the southeast, you got to head towards Central and South Florida, but also you have to dodge some showers and thunderstorms towards the afternoon.
All right, this time last week we were talking about snow in Denver. Well, you're going to be back up into the 70s come Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. 70s in Billings as well. But notice we're still dry in the west for now. There's a hint. Pacific Northwest beginning to see some showers back in the picture by midweek.
Going to track that for sure. By Thursday, we start moving that rain into Northern California, 65 in San Francisco. Let's take you there live.
And already by Friday, those temperatures have rebounded across the east. So that little taste of fall, believe it or not, 73 in New York, 69 degrees in Boston, above average. So you had a taste with average, and then you're back with some warmth.
And then in next weekend, talking about drier weather enveloping much of the eastern half of the nation, scattered showers, even some snow showers continue across the Rockies of Colorado.
Fires can have their own sort of weather systems, their own little microclimates that can lead to more fires. So let's take a look at how sometimes that happens. When you have a fire situation, the atmosphere, those winds are faster aloft. You have the fire burning, but out ahead of it, you also have a lot of heat. This is out ahead of the main fire. So that smoke, that heat is allowing those areas ahead to also heat up. And that heat then leads to further drying out of the fuel on the ground. So now you have conditions that were probably already ripe for fire get that much more intense. Once you get that fire and the burning embers to absolutely have had and will have for a little bit longer. So you can understand why we have so many widespread fires and why they are easily spreading and very difficult to contain right now. And Paul, we'll be watching the forecast here towards the end of the week, though, for some improvement.
Yeah, slight chance.
Have it through all the way from Michigan back in through southern Illinois. A few flashes of lightning, but a far cry from what we were seeing with all that activity yesterday. So timing it out, if you're heading to maybe a pumpkin patch this weekend, just know that it's still going to be very warm and muggy out ahead of all this. But this is the sign of change, the signal of change. Notice Pittsburgh by about the dinner hour, in towards Albany by about bedtime, and you've got the showers trying to make their way into the New York City metro area overnight. Not going to total a whole lot, but there's going to be a lot of wind in these places too. So Pittsburgh, yes, those showers arriving by dinner. Those gusts already getting up to 25, 30 miles per hour. hour by this afternoon. Same story in D.C. Those gusty winds, 20 miles per hour plus as we get into the evening hours, along with those showers arriving towards the overnight. And really, that you're going to feel it. If you don't see the rain showers, you'll see the winds here in Burlington, expecting those gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour. It is coming along with some changes. We're calling them up and down temperatures, but it's really more up and more up because it's a brief and it's really a return to average. But regardless, it is going to be cooler, relatively speaking, and then finally getting that push to the Midwest and into the Northeast as we get through the midweek. But you see what happens late week. That jet stream, that door to cooler air, well, it gets pushed back up to the north, so you have more warmth coming right back in. Look at this map for a second here. Just about the entire country will be seeing temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above average with a lot of warmth and a lot of humidity. So that means those overnight low temperatures will also be affected. Now today you have highs into the 50s, but they're right back into the 60s from Chicago to Minneapolis. And you see that surge, Rapid City 72, 77 here for you on Tuesday. I was just looking at some snow in the vicinity this time yesterday morning. So wild stuff there. By Wednesday, back into the 60s. And as we mentioned, Paul, everyone here above average into the rest of the week, but also bringing temperature change. So a lot going on the map right now. Let's start with the green, the rain on the radar. No snow. It's very, very mild out there in places like Buffalo, New York, starting off the day where they usually are for average highs this time of year. So a little wacky, a little bit of lightning and thunder, not a whole lot right now. So what's coming through, you may get a brief burst of rainfall and some of those gusty winds. But we have had strong high pressure off to the east, that upper level disturbance finally giving what was a stationary front a little bit of a boost here and moving along now as a cold front. But warm, breezy southerly flow being replaced by some cool, blustery air that is pushing off to the south. Cool is kind of the word here, not cold. It is going to take those temperatures down a few notches. And again, strong enough of a boundary here that we'll see some showers and maybe see some thunderstorms too. Not a whole lot there. But by this afternoon, you have it through Buffalo, dinner time, Pittsburgh and Charleston, and eventually by, I'll say your bedtime, maybe Albany towards Lancaster and Harrisburg, even DC could be seeing a few showers. So Pittsburgh, I think the big concern could be the very gusty winds that you can see here consistently through the day, 25 to 30 miles per hour along with those showers. So it's patio furniture, it's the decorations. If it's garbage day in your neighborhood tomorrow, you may not want to put those garbage cans out just yet. Buffalo too, similar situation. Look at this by dinner time as that boundary comes through, Paul, 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts possible. Of Southern California. Once again, red flag warnings are in effect today. Joining us from Irvine, California is Weather Channel's Scott Newell. And, you know, Scott, we've been obviously focusing a lot on Northern California, but there's a lot going on in Southern California as well. That the fire's out. This is just mean it's still burning, but they have some handle on the edge of these fires. But that's a reason why we can't just, you know, say, oh, it's 75% contained, we're almost out of the woods. No, there's a lot happening, including these microclimates. The fire produces its own weather. So you take a look, of course, winds faster aloft. You have the fire burning, that's smoke and heat rising as well. Now that is also heating the air, the vegetation out ahead of this fire. That radiant heat then further dries the fuel already out there. So you could have fire conditions already present made worse by the actual fire that is advancing. And then you have the embers that are falling into this area, and that can start new spot fires. And this is always the danger, why we pay so much attention to the winds, but also the conditions that are still active, and they're making some headway, Paul. Definitely still a long way to go. And rolling back through the Ohio Valley, some lightning with them, but overall not the punch that we were watching yesterday unfold with a severe threat. So through Louisville into Columbus, Ohio, as we get into the lunch hour, by about dinner time, Pittsburgh and Buffalo on its way towards Burlington and Albany, New York, towards the dinner hour. Maybe a few light showers getting in through D.C. tonight, but again, you can see losing a lot of its power rain-wise. Wind, a different story. Take a look. Consistent gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour in Burlington through the evening hours. Notice your temperatures into the 60s even after the sun goes down. This warmth is off the charts. You've got Pittsburgh too, similar story, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds here. By about the dinner time, you'll start to see some of those showers. You're already seeing the clouds. DC, similar story, 20 to 25 mile per hour winds with a chance of showers. We'll be right back. We'll be across parts of the west. So today, 50s from Minneapolis to Chicago, 45 Marquette, but really that's the taste of it, and you're already starting to see that rebound come tomorrow. 70 in Omaha. We're into the 60s, eventually pushing near 70 in Minneapolis come Tuesday. Same for Chicago, Omaha, Kansas City, St. Louis, all into the 70s. And you get into Wednesday and pretty much the same deal. So even with a little bit of a cool down, you're going to be right back up above average by the time midweek rolls around. So you look at it as a temperature trend, and yes, here's your dip Minneapolis, but you're back up into the 70s towards the end of the week. Meanwhile, your average high this time of year is 59 degrees. So that puts in perspective. Chicago, another great example of all this, 63, the average high. And you can see come Tuesday and the rest of the week, Paul, we are well above it.
All right.